The same weight you used in the first place.
I noticed I got more of a pop out of that set, too.
Worked a lot harder.
Incredible.
The explosive type training I'm talking about as far as for putting on size is different than powerlifting in that you're doing controlled sets. You're not just going for a max amount of weight for a single repetition or even doing, sets of 4 just to build strength. You're building muscle too, so you're doing controlled movements but in an explosive fashion. It's not just pure powerlifting, just trying to move the weight. You're still filling the weight, but you're training as heavy and explosive as possible with maintaining control. It's a controlled explosion from the bottom, and you follow through with it all the way. It's constant acceleration. You want to think of accelerating the weight through the movement instead of just moving the weight. You want to be constantly trying to accelerate, push harder as you're going up. And this is the way it puts a lot of stress on the muscle, and you get a lot of good results from it.
Hey, this is lightweight for you, isn't it?
Actually is, but it's enough weight just to show you the weir acceleration principle.
Squatting. What's your heaviest squat, anyways?
964.
964, you got this. This is ice cream for you. Let's go.
Watch how I accelerate from the bottom.
All legs, huh? Nice and strict, too.
Yeah, that's why you pause a little bit.
Pausing at the bottom. No problem. Easy. You're in. I can see that was really tough for you. Ice cream, baby, ice cream.
Supposedly one of the wonders of modern exercise machines is their ability to give you variable leverage. Well, actually, compensatory acceleration, which is the basis of power training, also gives you variable leverage. It works this way. When you're going through a movement, you have, at different points, at a leverage advantage or leverage disadvantage. That is, you're stronger in some places because of mechanical advantage and you're weaker in others. Now, if you're accelerating the weight as much as you can, if you're driving the weight up ballistically, what happens is, at the parts of the movement in which you're stronger, you drive the weight faster, which makes it heavier. Now, at the parts where you're not as strong, where you're weaker, then the weight is lighter. So what you've done is you've created a situation in which, when you're weaker, the weight is lighter. When you're stronger, the weight is heavier. For instance, in a bench press, as you get the bar down to your chest, then you're weaker. So as you accelerate up, you can't push it as fast. The bar at that point is lighter. But as you start to straighten out your arms and you get a mechanical advantage, well, at that point, the bar becomes heavier. You're stronger, the bar is heavier. Well, that's variable leverage. You don't need a complicated exercise machine to do that. You can do it with free weights and compensatory acceleration.
Training to failure is another familiar training principle to most bodybuilders. It means continuing with any given set until you can't squeeze out any more reps with the weight you're using without stopping to rest. But this doesn't work with acceleration training. Acceleration training is designed to generate power. And what does this exactly mean? Power is different from strength. Strength is your ability to lift a weight a given distance. But in power, time comes into play. Power is a measure of the weight times the distance, divided by the time. That is, the faster you lift it, the more power you generate.
We racked it because you weren't accelerating more, which means you weren't generating enough power. When you can't generate enough power, it's not good for mass training.
I understand that. I felt that when I was coming towards the end, the 8th rep.
So for acceleration training, you don't train to failure, you train to the failure of power. That is, you keep going until you can't accelerate the weight anymore. When power fails, stop. Take a rest for a minute or more. Then come back for another acceleration set.
Again, what we're doing is working that white muscle fiber. In order to do that, we have to accelerate from the bottom of the movement all the way up to the top.
controlling on the way down, exploding on the way up, squeezing those lats. Remember, 6 to 8 reps to the failure of power.
I would suggest you exercise caution with fast ballistic movements. Again, when you move quickly, it's now an inertial factor. You have weight moving at a very rapid speed.
So this type of training just hits the white muscle fibers of the body in order for you to gain more mass?
It hits a lot more white muscle fiber than red muscle fiber. You obviously do it in your training, but if you can consciously know that you are doing it, you can do it all the time.
Man, I still have the feeling that doing this type of exercise, I'll be throwing the weight around, doing cheating.
Oh, not at all. You're actually controlling the weight more than you normally would. You're concentrating with your mind more.
Training explosively is not cheating, and it's not totally disorienting yourself from the movement. You still want to have that mind-muscle link, and you still want to feel the movement through the range, but you're going to do it explosively.
Remember, endurance is not a factor. Take your time and generate maximum intensity in each set. Make sure you rest between sets, and don't overtrain by trying to do too much heavy training in the same workout. And finally, when making the transition from heavy training to quality training in an eclectic workout, employ all the Weider quality training principles listed in Tape 9, such as full range of motion, peak contraction, etc.
Since training heavy helps build muscle, all things considered, the heavier you're able to train and still manage to do 6 or 8 reps, the more muscle mass you can build. One intensity training principle that helps you to do this is forced reps, a technique in which your training partner helps you to lift a weight just a little too heavy for you, or to force out more reps in a set than you could do on your own.
Say your bench press is 250 pounds. If you want to increase your bench press, basically you just say you do 8 reps for 250. We restrict the weight. After you do one set, do 225 and 200. The next time you'll handle 260 or 270 because the fourth rep you have someone there to spot you. You force yourself to increase the rep. Like say if you do 8 reps, you can't do 2 more. You have a training partner to help you for a fourth rep. The next time you can handle the same weight and do 10 repetitions. Then the next workout you handle more weight. So with the fourth rep technique enables you to be stronger and stronger.
You do have to eat to grow. However, many bodybuilders training to get huge over the years have chosen to satisfy their nutritional needs simply by eating a lot.
So what's basic for me is beef, ketchup, and Coca-Cola.
Unfortunately, taking in calories indiscriminately like this may give your body what it needs to build muscle, but taking in all those excess calories is also likely to make you fat, which means dieting for definition becomes that much more difficult. Heavy training creates the demand for nutrients in the body. If you want to get big and strong, you have to supply whatever nutrients the body needs and deliver them when the body is most ready to absorb them. Tape 8 of the Weider system covers diet and nutrition at great length, but here is a summary of what, when, and how much to eat to give your body what it needs to build maximum mass. Eat at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight on days when you're doing intense training. Eat 5 or 6 smaller meals during the day rather than 2 or 3 larger meals. Take in both protein and carbs immediately after any intense workout. Fat intake should be kept low to moderate in your diet. Drink plenty of water to allow your metabolism to function most efficiently.
You need to eat an adequate diet with supplements. It is especially important to eat protein during the window of opportunity, before, during, and after your workout.
When I'm training for mass, I like to eat a lot of variations of food, primarily beef. 90% beef, and whatever goes with it will have beef on top of it.
When I'm mass training, I do up my carbs. Unlike when I'm contest training,
I drop my carbs and up my protein. I do just the opposite when I'm mass training.
Train with heavy weights. Your muscles will not grow unless you overload them with progressively heavy poundage. Choose a weight that allows you to do sets of 6 to 8 reps. Rely on free weights, barbells, and dumbbells for your mass and strength building workouts. Build mass using 2-joint compound exercises such as presses, rows, deadlifts, squats, and leg presses. Do your mass training at the beginning of your workouts or beginning of your training cycle when you're the strongest and the most rested. Rest at least 1 minute between heavy sets, but no more than 3 minutes. Take extra days off when necessary to allow for complete recuperation when you're doing heavy mass training. Cycle your training, alternating heavy and light training workouts or groups of workouts. Use the compensatory acceleration principle to develop the maximum of white fiber with ballistic movements. Train to the failure of power, your ability to accelerate a weight rather than to the point where you can't move the weight at all. Handle heavier weights doing forced reps with the help of a training partner. To develop as much mass and strength as possible, eat at least 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight on heavy training days, and eat a sufficient number of calories to allow your body to grow. Remember, strict dieting and maximum muscle gains don't mix.
Now that you know everything you have to know about power training and building mass and power, you must master nutrition, because nutrition is what's going to turn your mass training and power training into muscularity, shaping, and muscularizing and hardening your body.
You don't have to begin weight training at 15, 16, 20. You could begin weight training at 70, because the important thing, it makes you feel good about yourself.
Bodybuilding can have a positive effect on anybody's life. It can help you lose weight and give you more confidence.
You don't have to be a champion, you know, to be involved in bodybuilding. It's the thrill of watching your body change and just loving it, you know.